Good morning, Western Washington, and happy Tuesday. I'm Matthew Fab with Western Washington Weather, and today we're going to take a look at the active weather coming up over the next couple days here with our atmospheric river, which you can clearly see right here on our satellite. Look at that stream of moisture going straight toward Western Washington, coming out of the Pacific Ocean and going straight into Western Washington there. This is going to bring some pretty active weather through the day today, and then into Wednesday and Thursday, and a little bit into Friday as well. So taking a look at the radar, you can see some of that rain starting to move onshore. You're starting to get a little bit of snow in some of the passes, mainly Stevens Pass there. That's all going to pick up as we go through the day today, and we'll take a look at that in just a moment. Starting here with the overall pattern, you can see we have some ridging, but that atmospheric river is riding up along that ridge, and that is going to keep it around here as we go through the next couple days. And we get this low pressure system that's going to go down into Oregon, but it's going to push more of that atmospheric river into Western Washington as we go through Thanksgiving into Friday. Then we start to get some ridging offshore. We will dry out a little bit there as we go into next week. Taking a look at the precipitation type forecast here, you can see as we go through the day today, you get that heavier snow in the mountains, especially this evening. Difficult pass travel, most likely. Heavy rain in the lowlands. That continues as we go into Tuesday night, into early Wednesday morning. That will start to warm up and likely change into rain, or maybe a mix of rain and freezing rain up at the passes. By Wednesday morning, we are mostly dry, but you can see that atmospheric river still hanging out there across parts of Oregon. Then as we go into Wednesday night, into Thanksgiving, it starts to push back into Western Washington, and we have a very wet Thanksgiving on tap there across the region. You can see that low off the Oregon coast pushing that rain north into Western Washington. That rain continues into early Friday morning, and then will dry out for most of the day Friday, and then we will stay mostly dry going through Saturday. That rain from the next system, maybe bringing a few showers to the lowlands, mainly rain for the central and southern coast and down towards southwest Washington, and then that moves out of the area by Sunday morning, and we should have a mostly dry Sunday on tap. Taking a look at the atmospheric river, we're looking at the anomalies in precipitable water, which is the amount of water vapor in the atmosphere. Very easy to see that atmospheric river hitting the area today. Then you can see it pushes south a little bit on Wednesday, but then that low pressure system that is forming right here is going to move it back north, and then you see all that moisture moves through Western Washington again, bringing us a pretty wet Thanksgiving there. Then that low weakens, moves in, continues to bring some rain, and then that moisture moves out of the area, bringing some drier conditions as we go into Friday. So now taking a look at total precipitation that we can expect with this storm, we have the European model on the left and the national blend of models on the right, both decently high resolution, but this one here on the right is much higher than the European, but they still both do very good. You can see about 1 to 2 inches on the coast. That is consistent across both models. And then you can see in the interior, the northern areas, mainly Everett northward, getting a little bit less rain than the rest of the region. The European model showing about a 9/10 of an inch up there near Bellingham. The rest of the region getting 1 to 1.5 inches. A few areas maybe getting up toward 2 inches. And then you can see a bigger rain shadow here northeast of the Olympic Peninsula on the national blend of models, showing a wider area getting about 3/4 of an inch of rain. And then from Everett down to Seattle getting 1 to 1.25 inches. And then from Seattle southward to Tacoma and Olympia down toward Portland getting 1.5 to 2 inches. So a little bit more rain here showing up in the national blend of models. And then once the snow changes over to rain, it will be raining up in the mountains, and then your total liquid water that you're getting up in the Cascades likely 2 to 5 inches here on the national blend of models, showing about 2 to 4 inches on the European model. So overall, lots of water hitting the slopes, but not all of it will stay snow. Now taking a look at the snow forecast, it's going to be a pretty impactful one for some of the passes today. You can see this is through Wednesday. You have the European model here on the left and the high-resolution rapid refresh model here on the right. And what this is showing is about 8 to 16 inches at the passes. You're looking about 8 to 10 inches for White Pass and Snoqualmie Pass, up to 16 inches up at Stevens Pass. And then you maybe get some snow down toward Wenatchee, all the way down toward Ellensburg, and maybe a little bit towards Spokane here on the European model. The high-resolution rapid refresh model paints a little bit of a different picture, showing much more snow, potentially up towards 16 inches for all the passes, and then showing up to 4 inches down in Ellensburg, a couple inches there near Vantage and Ephrata, and then over towards Spokane getting 1 to 3 inches. So you can tell this model has a little bit more cold air in it. So both these scenarios are possible, and the bottom line is that travel across the passes on the day today into very early Wednesday morning is going to be difficult at times. I will be up there soon live streaming Storm Chase there on Snoqualmie Pass, so stay tuned to the channel and my social media to watch that later today. But overall, yeah, difficult day on the passes most likely. And then I wanted to point this out. This is the European model looking at wind through the end of the week. I know yesterday in the video I had talked about it looking like a windy Thanksgiving. Well, the position of that low pressure system offshore has changed, and instead we're going to have a pretty calm Thanksgiving. You can see maybe some gusts up toward 40 miles per hour on the coast, but only about 20 miles per hour in the interior. So nothing really out of the ordinary, and a nice calm day for Thanksgiving, so that's good. Maybe some gusts around 30 to 35 miles per hour for Olympia and Chehalis, but that shouldn't really do any damage given some of the storms we've already had. And then want to take a look at temperatures. It's going to be a cool one today with highs in the low to mid 40s across western Washington. As we go into Wednesday there, you can see those temperatures rise to the upper 40s to low 50s, and the mountains warm up a little bit too as that atmospheric river influences the area. On Thanksgiving, we're looking at highs in the mid to upper 40s across western Washington. Very typical Thanksgiving weather across the region there. And then going into Friday, we warm up a little bit more for some of the coast with those highs potentially getting toward the mid 50s, but most of the lowlands still in the upper 40s to low 50s. And then as we go into Saturday, we cool down a little bit more with those highs dropping back to the mid to upper 40s. Same thing there on Sunday, mid to upper 40s across western Washington. And then going in to start that first day of December, looking at highs in the low to mid 40s across the region. So those temperatures are definitely cooling down a bit. I'm now taking a look at the ensembles real quick. You can see 2 rounds of rain really with this system. You get this first round here as we go through Tuesday into Wednesday, bringing about a half inch to 3/4 of an inch of rain, and then that much more rain there showing up Thanksgiving into early Friday, about another inch of rain. So your total around 1.5 inches. That is very good agreement on that on the European model here for Seattle. And then taking a look at your 24-hour snow totals there. This is for Snoqualmie Pass. Ensemble agreement here, and the deterministic and the ensemble, everything agrees about 10 inches of snow in 24 hours at Snoqualmie Pass, maybe a little bit more, give or take. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out as well. And then taking a look at those extended outlooks I was talking about, end of November into the first few days of December, there you can see below average temperatures across a large portion of the United States, but including the Pacific Northwest. And then you can see below normal precipitation across the West Coast. This is a little bit indicative of a pattern that may be setting up here over the next couple weeks, so I have to watch that closely. So yeah, thank you all very much for watching. Be sure to subscribe here to Western Washington Weather. Follow me on the Western Washington Weather Facebook group and on my Twitter and Blue Sky accounts. And stay tuned later today as I will be live streaming my storm chase up on Snoqualmie Pass. So stay safe out there, everybody, and thank you all very much for watching, and I'll talk to you all tomorrow.